What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we have new information about progress on stimulus, leaked details and information coming out. This is your stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and breaking news update. Now, take a look at some of these headlines coming out, you guys. Biden and Democrats are battling with the perception of overpromising. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that they promised the world and then haven't been able to deliver? Do you think they're still going to be able to do so? What do you think? Also, we're seeing opposition due to concerns of debt and inflation for more stimulus, but we're hearing that they are saying we're going to get more, and they're also pushing for it. I'm going to be sharing with you some video footage here in a second, as you're going to be hearing about calls for checks, student loan forgiveness, and assortment of provisions that they are still saying are going to get done. And take a look, Congress returning to brawl over pandemic aid and China competition bill, and the White House's Jen Psaki offered a binder full of pandemic spending details, but taking a peek was a process. However, we are receiving leaked information about what progressives and Democrats are saying they're going to get done, and they're going to get this done right away. Now, we're going to dive right in, and as I mentioned, we have some video footage from Representative Ro Khanna. You're going to hear him talk about executive orders and executive actions that the president needs to take, stimulus provisions with stimulus checks going out to families. You're going to hear him talk about student loan forgiveness and all of these provisions, stimulus provisions. He's saying they are working on right now, and they're trying to get done right away. And he's saying, though, that even though it's a short time frame before those elections, they can get it done, and they're going to be pushing to do so. Now, let me know your thoughts, you guys, but I've got the video footage I'm going to be sharing with you, and also these details from these articles, so you know the latest. Now, before we dive in, though, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate these updates, don't forget to take a moment to smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. I appreciate it. If you like the updates, it helps out my channel so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you'd like to stay up to date, I'll keep you up to speed on everything going on, totally free. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and if you got any specific questions for me on anything we're covering, I'm easy to get a hold of directly and answer any questions. All you got to do is hop on Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the latest information coming out on the new stimulus that we're hearing is going to be on the way. All right, you guys, so first up, let's take a look at this video footage from Representative Ro Khanna. He's going to be covering everything. This is a really good interview. Build Back Better, stimulus. Also, they're going to be talking about Bernie Sanders potentially running against President Joe Biden in the 2024 elections. A lot of good stuff in this interview. Then right after, we're going to dive into the details of where things currently stand in Congress with more stimulus and what is all on the line for Democrats. So let's take a look at this video footage.
About passing legislation. I love that topic. I want to play for you something Elizabeth Warren said on Meet the Press yesterday with Kristen Welker. Take a listen.
We've got nearly 200 days left between now and the election, and there are families who are trying to make the decision at the checkout line which groceries to send back because they can't afford them. Democrats ran and always run on trying to make government work for working people. We've got nearly 200 days left. That's what we need to put our energy on.
The senator also said in an op-ed last week that Democrats need to deliver more by November to have a case to make to voters in the midterms. It sounds like you would agree with that assessment.
Absolutely, Garrett. I was back home and I met a teacher outside a grocery store. He said he's had 3 eggs every morning and now he's only having 2 eggs. So this is something that is hurting middle class, working class families, even in districts, affluent districts like mine. We need to deliver. There are a few things we can do right away. The president should forgive student loans. That is such an obvious policy. We ought to be having a tax on the big oil companies and providing a check then from that revenue to working and middle class families. That's 2 things that would provide immediate relief.
What do you say to people who worry about the inflationary impact of a student loan forgiveness program, that's essentially just would ultimately lead to pouring more money into the economy at a time when inflation, voters keep saying, is one of, if not their top concern?
I don't think it would be inflationary because the students aren't paying it back right now anyway. This would just be formalizing that they don't have to live with this debt. And to the extent there isn't any inflationary impact, you can raise taxes on the billionaires, and that would offset the cost. And that is another policy I think the president should do. Well, people are hurting. Others are making billions of dollars, and they aren't paying their fair share. They want to see that they get people want to see those billionaires taxed appropriately.
Raising taxes on the wealthiest has not been as easy as congressional Democrats would like. You and I remember quite well Kyrsten Sinema's opposition to some of the tax portions of the Build Back Better plan. Now that Congress is back, though, there's a lot more discussion about reviving some of that agenda to kind of try to pick up the pace here. Joe Manchin, the other part of the Senate duo that has made this so complicated for Democrats, wants a bill that says tax reform, prescription drug reform, all the above energy plan. Do you think that's the kind of thing that could potentially move in the time frame we're talking about now?
Yes, it's our only shot. I mean, we have to get 51 votes in the Senate, and Senator Manchin has been open to prescription drug reform, lowering the cost. He's been open to a moonshot on renewable energy. I understand that he wants some short-term increase in production, and I think we have to discuss that to see if we can come up with a compromise that meets the needs of the moment.
You've only got about 12 legislative weeks, I think, left until the August recess. You can check my math if it's wrong, but are you satisfied that leadership in both chambers feels the urgency sufficiently to get this done before it's too late to matter politically for Democrats?
Yes, I mean, first we're going to get the Competes Act through. That's a big deal. Not enough folks are talking about it. It's led to Intel putting $20 billion into Ohio, creating manufacturing, construction jobs. We can tell the story of economic renewal. We can also get this climate bill to the president's desk. And then I think that Senator Warren is right. There are a lot of things this president can do through executive order, including, by the way, capping some of the high costs on prescription drugs. The president should take 3 to 4 bold actions, student loans, prescription drugs, that show the American public he's doing everything to lower prices. You know, that was part of FDR's success. He took action, bold, persistent action. We need to be a government in motion addressing people's concerns.
If that's the prescription for 2022, I want to ask you about 2024. One of Bernie Sanders' top advisors wrote in a leaked memo that he's not ruling out a presidential bid if there were to be an open primary in 2024. Do you think Bernie Sanders should run in 2024 if President Biden doesn't? And would you support him again? You were one of his national co-chairs.
Well, good for Bernie. He's the most popular politician in the country. He is advocating policies that are popular: Medicare for all, free public college, not having student loans. I would support him if he runs. Obviously, that is his decision, and he said that he would only run if the president does not run.
We've got an older generation of Democrats who've been running, I think is fair to say here. Should perhaps a young progressive from California like yourself consider running in 2024? Is that something that would cross your mind if there is an open primary?
Absolutely not. I'm happy where I am. I don't think 24 is the year that people are looking for that. I think there's a lot of instability right now, and someone like Senator Sanders or other progressives would be great. And of course, if the president runs, he would have my support. I do think the president needs to act on some of these key progressive priorities. As a joking matter, I was saying to someone, you know, how many presidents do the baby boomers want? They've had a lot of them, but you know, we'll see.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. A lot of good content there. We're hearing calls for executive orders, executive actions to get things done. We're hearing that they want to pass stimulus checks for families. They want to pass an assortment of different provisions, and they're saying they're going to get this all done in time that it can be done. Let me know your thoughts, you guys, in the comments down below. But this is the latest information coming out on this. And also, take a look at these articles that are coming out. Biden and Democrats battle the perception of overpromising. Do you think that there are all these promises coming out to try to persuade voters to keep them in power? Do you think that's going to convince them, or do you think that they're going to need to bring to fruition some of these promises in order to stay in power? Well, we're going to be seeing, but take a look at this article, you guys. It says Democrats fighting to retain their majorities in this year's midterm elections are grappling with the disappointed electorate that sees their party as having promised more than it has delivered. Much of the last year was focused on the Democrats' effort to pass a huge social and spending and climate change package known as the Build Back Better agenda, which toppled in the face of opposition from the Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Progressives said that the Build Back Better legislation was the real legislative prize of the White House and Congress-controlled Democrats, casting it as much more important than a separate piece of legislation, a $1.4 trillion infrastructure bill that did become law with the GOP support. Now, some of the left even threatened to vote against that infrastructure bill, which has complicated Biden's efforts to present it as a major achievement of his first year in office. That's not the only disappointment for Democrats, who failed to pass a new voting rights legislation or change the filibuster rule in the Senate as well. Now, that disappointment is biting the party, as NBC News polls released that late last month showed over 67% of Republicans saying that they have high levels of interest in the midterms, very interested in flipping Congress. By comparison, 50% of Democrats say they had high levels of interest. So they're saying conservatives, Republicans, they're a lot more interested in hitting the polls this November, which could spell disaster for Democrats. Now also, take a look at this, you guys. Congress returning to a brawl over pandemic aid and China competition bill. This is going to be letting us know there is very little time for them to get things done. U.S. lawmakers return to Washington next week, or this week, in what some analysts see as the beginning of a critical period for President Joe Biden's agenda and the markets. The next 5 weeks likely represent the final air pocket of unified Democratic government to build momentum on Biden's stalled fiscal agenda, said Chris Krueger of Cohen Washington Research Group in a note on Friday. Now, awaiting Congress when lawmakers filed back into the Capitol are brawls over pandemic aid, immigration policy, a China competition bill, more cash for Ukraine, and salvaging parts of President Biden's stalled Build Back Better and social spending and climate legislation. So there is a lot on the table to get done, and they're saying they're going to get it all done. They're going to take care of stimulus alongside all of these other matters that are on their to-do list. They're going to help people out. Now, we will see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But whatever unfolds here, I'll keep you up to date. And we're hearing they're making traction on this. I shared with you yesterday that we heard Joe Manchin is on board with discussions. And we're going to be seeing what they come up with, as Build Back Better is the 2021 reconciliation bill. They still have a 2022 at their disposal. Now, there's calls for gas stimulus checks, child tax credits, getting rid of student loans, an assortment of different provisions that people are saying they want to see come to pass. And Democrats are saying they're going to get it done. So there you have it, you guys. That is the latest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for joining me here on the channel. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. As more information rolls out, I will keep you up to date on anything that unfolds. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Come join the Ram fam. Why not? All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. If you got any specific questions for me, hop onto Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. Consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth, personal finance. More content coming on that channel as well. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me once again, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.